welcome to a very spooky episode of Furry Found Footage. Today on Furry Found Footage, we're going to talk about a master of his craft, Will Vinton, and we're going to do this by looking at the Claymation Comedy of Horrors released in 1990. This time I'm going to have a lot of history, so I'll save that for the end. Our scary story opens on these two guys, Wilshire Pig and Sheldon Snail, and these guys are building some sort of rocket? Oh wait, no, it's a carnival ride. So these dudes are carnies? Or they're just a crack team of engineers who develop carnival rides for carnies? After extensive R&D? Well, it's a disaster anyway, but it is shaking all the change out of the test subject's pockets and... oh, it killed him. I want you to prepare for what happens next. If you're easily disturbed, I urge you to look away. In the name of all that is good, do not view the next few seconds if you...
Hey! Tired of that dull, drab existence? Are you ready to make your wildest dreams come true? Of course you are!
Oh my god. Oh god, no. No. The snail is basically some sort of shape-shifting demon who has the mottled skin of an orange. He's extremely unsettling, and everything he does leads me to believe that Wilshire did not befriend him, but summoned him from the depths of hell.
His most colossal creation! A monster to rival the gods! Someone's at the door.
So, these two idiots go looking for their friend Vince and come across this spooky castle. After some back and forth, this bloated green babe appears and tells them enthusiastically about the Halloween gathering of the spirits.
Oh, sorry about the deadpool.
She thinks Wilshire is Dr. Jekyll and Sheldon is Mr. Hyde, which is honestly a less horrifying character than what the snail actually is.
Well, enough about that. Let's get you registered for the jamboree.
Wilshire and Sheldon end up in a lavatory despite looking for a laboratory. See the joke there? After offending the creature from the Black Lagoon, they head into the party and Dracula seats them with the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, who really seem like alright guys.
I hope you don't mind sharing them.
Fellas, I want you to meet Dr. Jekyll. and these here are my partners.
Everyone at this Halloween gathering keeps mentioning mortals, and Wilshire says he's not mortal, but he's Dr. Jekyll. And Dr. Jekyll is just a dude. He doesn't have immortality or anything, he just made a potion. So I'm not sure why this alibi is presented as solid. And who's to say that other Halloween monsters aren't mortal too? Fishmen? Werewolves? A guy with a hockey mask? Surely these are not immortal creatures. Anyway, back to the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which is a sentence I've always wanted to say. These guys really love to laugh.
Oh, who's this? Pinocchio?
They must really love their work. Sheldon wants to leave, but Wilshire is obsessed with power and wants to terrorize those who would dare to speak against him.
Wilshire, let's get out of here.
No one gets the best of Wilshire Pig, alive or undead.
They follow a sign looking for the laboratory, but the blob pulls them on stage for the science demo they are definitely not prepared for. After the blob does the blob equivalent of pulling this dude off stage with a hooked cane, Wilshire and Sheldon take their places and toy with the forces of life and death.
Yeah.
Whatever is in this potion causes the snail to shift into obscene, unspeakable forms, and their act is promptly cancelled. After a brief stint in Damnation Alley, our heroes run into the animate skeleton of Wilshire's grandmother.
Wilshire Pig? Granny?
She quickly realizes they aren't dead, and the alarm goes off. I don't know if all the monsters have this alarm system embedded in them, but Wilshire's grandmother certainly seems to. Ghoulish creatures of all kinds chase them, and at this point I'm left to wonder what the outcome will be if they're caught. Will they be torn apart? Eaten? Thrown out of the party on their asses? Well, either way, they finally discover the laboratory and immediately start screwing with things. The pig is desperate to gain the power to hurt and command others.
I found it! Finally, the ultimate power.
Which he expects to do through a monster. Unfortunately, he has only the teeniest of Frankenstein monsters to work with. This potion bottle on a drip feed is actually some sort of growth chemical. Those who appreciate macro Frankenstein, please leave a message in the comments because you're a fascinating case study. Now, Butterfingers here instantly lose Frankenstein down the drain, then dump the potion after him to get him to grow. They're cornered and preparing for death, or soul stealing, or an embarrassing ejection from the hottest Halloween party on the planet. Wilshire and Sheldon are only saved by their own recklessness. Wilshire and Sheldon's monster grows until it's looming over the others, destroying the castle and frightening everyone away. Mad with power, Wilshire adds more and more growth potion to the monster, which, in addition to making it grow, also seems to make it more sinister. They decide to go on a stroll to the tune of Climb Every Mountain. And cause untold havoc on the peaceful countryside until...
Wilshire, what's that noise?
Until the rocket from the beginning of the film sticks right into the monster and deflates it in the most bizarre and unsettling way possible. I don't really understand this trope of things gaining mass and losing it as air. Is matter changing state in their bodies as a result of some sort of energy overload? Oh well, that ends Wilshire's reign of terror, starting them off on square one. But at least Sheldon found the tote bag Wilshire had convinced him he was looking for. The end. Now, as far as furry appeal goes, this special has a bit of a dearth. Other than the strangely attractive Fishman, there's really not much else to go on. Wilshire is a completely unfuckable chud, and the less said about Sheldon, the better. So, instead, I'm going to give you all some history on Will Vinton, a god in human form who brought claymation back from its rest following Art Clokey's Gumby in the 1950s. Will Vinton was an architect with a degree from Berkeley who rode this glorious mustache into a medium-changing career. The Oscar-winning success of his first fully claymation film, Closed for Mondays, was made in a basement with the help of Bob Gardner. The bizarre forms of some of Vinton's clay sculptures make sense when you know that Vinton was inspired by Gaudi, a legendary Spanish Catalan architect known for his unique buildings, which were often unplanned and undrawn, but rather sculpted in detailed models. Gaudi's influence extends beyond the world of clay, with references in, of all places, a 1990 atmospheric listening album by Takashi Kokubo, and an appearance in 1992 Enix masterpiece, Soul Blazer. Amazing game, definitely play it. After his early success, Vinton declared clay animation was still viable. It was for adults, and even coined the term claymation. Vinton's production company created countless TV ads. He's responsible for, among other things, the California Raisins, ask your parents, kids, and the red and yellow M&Ms, who are terrorizing moviegoers to this day. After growing success in the 80s, in the late 1990s, Nike co-founder Phil Knight bought a huge stake in Vinton's company and requested that his son, struggling rapper Chili T,
I'm oh so amazing, raps version Luther Vandross, getting a cutie's booty for a while and then a vamos.
yes, that's Laika's Travis Knight, be hired on. After some failed shows and the drop of advertising dollars following the 9/11 attacks, Vinton's company shrank before his eyes, going from 400 employees to 100. It was up to another cash injection from Phil Knight to keep the company afloat. But Phil Knight took control of the board, filled it with Nike executives, and promoted his son to the board of directors. Vinton was fired from the company that he built soon after. Now, Travis seems like a perfectly nice guy and has even proven himself to be a gifted animator, but his father bankrolled half his life and placed him into these positions. Vinton even tried to sue for wrongful dismissal and corporate nepotism, but the case was dismissed even after Phil Knight freely admitted acquiring the company with his son in mind. Thanks, Justice. After that, the Will Vinton Studios was rebranded to Laika, injected with enormous capital, and went on to pump out a bunch of successful films. The fact remains that Vinton was an enormously talented man who built his company up from nothing, which is a lot different than building a company up from Nike with hundreds of millions in cash injections. Hopefully I'll be able to revisit some of Vinton's work in the future. He's truly a legend. Until then, happy Halloween, stay spooky, and never trust anyone named Chili T.